Howdy, Casey Richardson here with TEEX Fire and Emergency Services, and I'm sitting here with Gary Leafblad, and Gary is the conference chair for the International Rescue Emergency Care Association, or IRECA as we'll refer to it, and they just held their competition here in College Station this week. And Gary, let's just talk a little bit about the history of IRECA and why is a competition such a draw for rescue teams from around the world?
The draw. Well, first of all, it's, we like to refer to it many times as a challenge. And all these men and women that come out, they need to be tested. And we like to look at a third-party validation with them. So they can come out and they are tested through all of the skills that they need. That sense of urgency comes when you compete. And as soon as you add it as a competition challenge, people, they get down to it.
Under a pressure situation, they have to think critically.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about this competition in terms of how it's structured and what teams know coming in, what they're told when they get here, kind of how it works.
Well, we have 3 levels of competition. We call it the 7-person, 4, and a 3-person. The 7 is purely technical rescue, and they say 90% of it is technical maneuvers, raise, lower, search, find, and secure, and then they do the medical portion. The 4-person is only usually about 1 or 2 technical moves, and then more medical in that nature. And then, of course, the 3-person, which we are finishing up today, is just all medical. So they have 3 scenarios, and they have a written evaluation, which is kind of very often the tiebreaker for that. But what they're expected to do is that they come in and they have a list of equipment. It's minimal equipment. With that, you don't have every gadget and gizmo in the world. First of all, they have to carry it. So if you can carry it, you can usually bring it in. And they are given a scenario, man falls into a hole, deep hole, and you have to get them out. Or you have to find them. And coming out here to TEEX has been, I always say this is the Disney World of rescue. And there isn't something we can't find and do out here. It's just we don't have time. Well, we only have 1 or 2 days to actually perform it. We could do every day. And never do the same project again. And again, everything is always inspired by something that's happened. And so that, it's one thing for people to share here and to do it, but then to perform it for other people so they can bring it back to their plants, their facilities to be able to, perform.
Can you describe one of the scenarios that they faced this week? I don't know, the pickoff maybe?
The pickoff, I believe what that was to be was workman went up and he just passed out. And he's suspended, and they have to go up, they have to secure the patient, and then lower him. There are other ones, there was one on the roof, which was a slide. You had to come up one side with a ladder, and then you had to get to your patient, and then they had to actually put him in a Stokes and bring him down to safety, and then bring him to first aid. And this is all within like 45 minutes. So these rescuers were working in this cool atmosphere that we have here.
June in Texas.
Yeah.
Live victims as well?
Yes. Yes. When you add the live victims, there's again that sense of urgency and importance. A lot of the victims were volunteers that have come through TEEX, and also I bring my students from Minnesota. And as I talked with them last night, they're like, man, I've never been sweat on by so many people with it. I said, welcome to the world of rescue.
Right. And the BLS competition, the basic life support, the 3-man as you called it,
Yes.
that's a little bit different in terms of we have mannequins and different things going on there,
well,
right?
we do have mannequins, but we do again use live patients for the BLS because they have to actually go in and we want them to take a blood pressure. We want them to check the pulse. We've had someone from TEEX come out and moulage the patients. And so there was abrasions to the face, there was an impaled object, another one with some rebarb had gone through the leg. And so, they have to come and secure the patient. They also have to get the patient off the rebarb. So the patients give them feedback.
For IRECA and TEEX to work together this year and to host this conference, what does it offer different for IRECA versus previous years?
I always say unlimited. When we look at what's offered out here, we're not limited to what the facility is. In some places we've gone, they've just got one tower. And we've done rescues where you're on all 4 sides. And don't look on the other side because you might know what the next scenario is. Here, they're separated, they're moved out. And we can look at what's hot out there, if you want to say, and what needs to be worked on. Like here at TEEX, everything again is inspired by what has happened out there in the world, and I say the world, and now it's here. So you can train on it so that when you go back, you can take that to the next level.
Are there any prerequisites for the competitors? Do they need, I guess if they're coming from a refinery, they're going to have their NFPA 1006 certifications, but is there anything else they need in order to qualify to compete? Or if they're a team and they're refinery or wherever they are, they're in?
Yeah, they're in. We haven't